Hello friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. Today, I've got some more highly upvoted posts from Best of Redditor updates. Like always, I'll be reading you the posts and giving you my opinions, and I also hope you do the same in the comments down below. Today's first story comes from the What Do I Do subreddit. It was posted by Majestic Channel 815 on August 12, 2026, and was titled, "My stepdad is acting very creepy towards me, 19 female. I feel like I'm losing my mind, so sorry if this is all over the place. My mom got married to this guy around a year ago, but they've been together for around 2. He wasn't weird till he moved in, or maybe I just didn't notice it. It's been little things, but it's just progressively gotten worse, and I don't know what to do. I'll give some examples. One time, I went shopping at Victoria's Secret, and I put the bags in my room. I left again immediately after because I went to hang out with a friend. When I came back, he asked me why I would buy such expensive underwear when I could just get a pack at Walmart or something. I figured maybe he saw the bags when I got home. Then he said, blue? Really? The color of the underwear I bought. I was immediately disgusted and embarrassed. Not only does that mean he went through my stuff, but he also went in my room for no reason. Is that a regular occurrence, and he just so happened to see the bags that time? I feel like if you see a Victoria's Secret bag, you already know what's in it, so why would he have to go through it? I told my mom, and she said he's just being overprotective. Another example is that I have a boyfriend, and I do go see him often. Every time I leave the house, he'll say, "Off to see that little boyfriend of yours again?" He never says his name, even though I know he knows it. Or, "Don't get pregnant, or I'll kick you out." He always says he's joking after, but is that not an odd thing to say? There's a couple more examples, but I don't want to make this post too long. Anyway, what made me make this post is something that happened recently that makes me very uncomfortable and grossed out. He and my mom went out on a date night, so I asked my mom if I could invite my boyfriend over. She has never said no before, and this time is no different. He overheard and said, "We both know why you want him over," in an angry tone. My mom brushed him off and said yes. So they left. My boyfriend came over, and we were in my room. We were watching TV, but at the end of the day, he is my boyfriend, so we started kissing. He crawled on top of me, and that's when my stepdad barged in without knocking and started yelling at us. We didn't hear them come home. I'll admit, it did look bad, but why does he care so much about my sex life? My mom knows and is fine with it as long as I'm safe. He said stuff like I can't have sex in his house. It's my mom's, and was just saying controlling things. My mom calmed him down, but for the rest of the night, he kept opening my door, trying to catch us in the act, so my boyfriend just went home. I feel like I'm entitled to my own space because I do partially pay for rent, but even if I didn't, is his behavior still not weird? The easiest solution is to move out, but that's just not possible right now. I only work part-time because of school. I just feel stuck. I could try talking to my mom again, but with more details, but I'm scared of her reaction. I don't want to feel like I'm making a big deal of things again. Literally, any advice would be appreciated. Thanks in advance. Scaling Stories Corner. No. This guy's behavior is extremely weird, and I'm disappointed that OP's mom hasn't put her foot down harder about this stepdad figure trying to play an authoritative figure in a house that's not even his and a child that he hasn't built a strong relationship with. And that's just in reaction to him trying to tell OP that it's his house, his rules, and trying to prevent her and her boyfriend from becoming intimate. Because that's just weird to do to an adult child that's not yours in a house that's not yours. But besides that, I definitely got Jeepers Creepers vibes from this guy for going through OP's belongings and underwear. I think absolutely no one, especially an adult male that's not even related to OP, should be going through her clothes and commenting on her underwear choices. That's just really weird and inappropriate. I think the obvious thing would be for OP to tell her mom about her stepdad's creepy behavior. But unfortunately, I've also seen stories where the mom in these stories picked the husband over their daughter for some unforsaken reason, and they kind of abandoned their child to not upset their new significant other. But unless there's extended family of some sort that she's able to contact for help or is able to move in with her boyfriend, then I think she does have to tell her mom and hope for the best. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, "None of those comments are okay. Ask your mom to spend time together one-on-one so that you've got an open and safe environment. Document instances of this, as in dates, times, and instances, to give you a proven breakdown of evidence of his behavior. Commenter 2 says, "Oh, he is definitely a red flag. OP, he clearly doesn't agree with your mom's parenting. He does come off creepy. Is there another family member you can stay with, under the same arrangement as your mom? Or maybe look for a room to rent?" OP says, "I do have other family, but they live too far away. I've been looking for places, but have been unsuccessful so far." Commenter 3 says, "I highly recommend buying an indoor Ring camera or any sort of indoor surveillance camera to stick somewhere in your room. This guy is a creep and he's a weirdo. He's more than likely going into your room, or maybe he even has a camera of his own in there." Commenter 4 says, "Like other people have said, watch out for cameras. His and/or get your own to watch him from. From his behavior, I wouldn't be surprised if he already had a camera in your room. Honestly, I wouldn't do anything. Change, get undressed, until you know you've cleared your room or that part of your room." Update 4 days later. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for the advice. This to address some things I saw in the comments of my last post. Yes, my actual dad is in my life, and our relationship is great. I haven't/can't move in with him because he lives too far. I also never told him about the situation with my stepdad at the time because I know he'd do something he'd regret. My dad is a good man but has severe anger issues when people hurt me. He's been to jail over it in the past. He went to therapy and is way better now, but I didn't want any chance of messing up all his progress. As for my boyfriend, I have stayed over at his place many times, but moving in permanently isn't really possible because he has a roommate of his own, so I'm not sure why people were trying to shift some blame onto him. He's not a bum. He's not leeching off of me. He's simply also 19 and starting out his life. As for moving out in general, you guys must have been very lucky to have been in a better position than me at my age. I can't simply move out on a whim. I only work part-time, trying to get more hours. Plus I go to school. I can't afford a place on my own plus tuition. The cost of living is too high where I am. Being 19 doesn't immediately make you on your feet. It's only my first year out of high school. Just need to get that out of the way. As for the actual update, I'm afraid it's worse than what I thought. As soon as I saw the first comment about a potential hidden camera, it scared me so much that I immediately bought one of those camera detector things. When it came, I waited till he wasn't home to try it out. I found 3. One in front of my bed, one above it, and one on my dresser. They are scarily small, but I feel so dumb for not noticing. Can't describe the feeling I had when I found them. I threw up, and my mom heard and ran to comfort me. When I got myself together, I told her everything. Every action that made me uncomfortable, every comment he said that felt weird. I showed her the cameras I found. Her face immediately dropped, and she started crying. She just asked over and over, why didn't I tell her sooner? And it just made me feel that much more awful. It was my fault that I didn't tell her. She apologized over and over again and said she failed me. We had a much-needed convo, and afterward, she said that she just thought it was uncomfortable between us because it's a new adjustment for all of us. She searched the rest of the house for me because I honestly couldn't deal with finding others. She found one in the bathroom, then searched his office. He always told us we weren't allowed in because that's where his work stuff is, and he doesn't want us to mess it up. I waited at the door while she searched, and in the drawers, she found random stuff of mine and an old phone that we don't know of. On the phone, there are pictures and videos from my social media accounts of me sleeping, changing, me being intimate with my boyfriend, all in my room. She also found a couple pairs of my underwear that I didn't even notice went missing, a couple of my hair ties, and after that, I went back to my room. I couldn't watch any more of that. I called my boyfriend to pick me up while my mom called the police because I just couldn't stay in that house for any longer. He held me, and I cried for what felt like hours till I fell asleep. I woke up and called my mom, and she told me the rundown of what happened. I don't know all the details because I couldn't bear to hear much. Basically, he came home to the cops and completely owned up to putting cameras in my room. His defense was that he needs to know everything that's going on in his house. As for my stuff and the pictures, he claims he doesn't know how it got there. He's arrested, but that's all I know so far. I told my dad, and he's driving down now. I haven't been asked to make a statement yet, and I don't know how any of that works, honestly. It's triggering to even think about. But yeah, there's the update. To the people who sent me hateful and hurtful things and told me this was all in my head, especially you/mysterymeat45 and you/passion80423294, I hope you never have kids. If you hate privately, you should be called out publicly. Even if you are troll accounts, it's still insanely effed up to say the things you did. To everyone who gave me actual, genuine advice, I wish nothing but the best for you all, and thanks again so much. If it weren't for you guys, I'd probably think I was still being dramatic. I most likely won't update again. I already want to move on from this situation. Sorry if this is jumbled. Everything is still so fresh, but writing it out is somehow helping me process it, I think. Edit. Stop calling me lucky because he didn't do worse. I don't feel lucky at all. Here are just a couple more examples since people didn't think the ones in my other posts were damning enough, and to also maybe help someone else in a similar situation see signs. 1. He would always need to know where I am and who I'm with. I find this weird because he's not my dad. I'm an adult and I would tell my mom. My mom telling him wasn't enough. He'd say, no, I want to hear it from her mouth. 2. He would often open my packages if I didn't get to them in time. Very annoying and weird. I ordered the camera detector when the arrival time was while he was at work, so I got lucky there. 3. Always commenting on my outfits. Would tell me unwanted advice and that I looked like a hooker if I wore shorts/skirts/anything revealing. 4. Would always ask me about birth control/using protection. Are you on the pill? If not, that little effer, my boyfriend, better be wrapping it up. He'd say stuff like this at the most random times too. 5. Would always try to use my mom against me. If we got into an argument, he would make himself seem like the victim. Always. My mom would always say to leave her out of it. 6. He would sometimes groan or say, you again? Very annoyed when I walked in a room. It was over-exaggerated to the point he could brush it off as a joke if he wanted, but I knew it wasn't a joke. 7. If I bought something and came home with bags, he'd interrogate me about what I bought. The Victoria's Secret bag is the only time I have hard proof that he went through my stuff. 8. He was super weird about my boyfriend. He would never say his name, just that little boyfriend of yours. If I went to go see him, he'd roll his eyes and say, again? Or, don't you spend too much time with him? 9. Pushing me to call him dad, even though he never even came close to having that title. 10. Would never ever knock before opening my door, even though I told him to, repeatedly. That's all I can really think of right now. Scaling Stories Corner. Jesus. I am so glad that OP's mom took the situation seriously and also took her side in this. Because legit the last story that I read that was similar to this one where OP found a hidden camera and tried to tell her mom decided to pick her stepdad over her. And that's where I even had it in my head that sometimes your mom isn't going to have your back in these situations. So I'm really glad this OP's mom stood by her daughter's side. And actually, I wasn't even thinking about hidden cameras being placed already, but so many other commenters already called that out. So that is just horrifying and disgusting of this guy to have done that to people he was supposed to consider family. OP says she's not planning on updating again, but I really hope that guy gets hit with some serious charges. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, Sweetie, whilst your mom's reaction upset you that she was also upset, hold on to the fact that she 100% believed you. She loves you and has your safety at the center of her world. Stay safe and loved. Commenter 2 says, the fact that 3 separate cameras were found is absolutely sickening and frightening. I hope this guy gets punished to the fullest extent of the law. So sorry to hear you had to endure this. It's very disheartening and wretched, knowing this creep thought he could be sneaky and get away with doing some crap like this. Commenter 3 says, I teared up hearing your mom's reaction. My mom chose her husband. I walked myself to the police station at 12 years old. He went to jail and I haven't seen her in over 30 years. Okay friends, so that concludes our first story of the day. Next up, we have a story from the 2 Hot Takes subreddit. It was posted by Psychology Cultural 33 on February 14th, 2026 and was titled, My boyfriend says he will leave me if I can't be okay with his female friend. What do I do? My partner Mike and I started as friends before dating. While we were friends, I knew he had a very close female friend, Ava. I never had an issue with him having female friends and didn't think much of it at first. Even before we started dating, my partner would vent to me about issues in his friendship with Ava. Their dynamic seemed unhealthy, with frequent emotional conflicts, and at times, she would threaten self-harm during disagreements. I didn't tell him to cut her off. I encouraged him to reflect on what he was willing to accept in a friendship. When my partner and I began talking romantically, Ava reacted very strongly. She became jealous and possessive, arguing with him about the fact that he was talking to someone. She accused him of abandoning her for a female, told him she trusted him not to leave her over a girl, and implied he was betraying her by talking to me. This made me uncomfortable, as it felt inappropriate for a platonic friendship. She also displayed resentment toward me specifically, saying she didn't want to play games or hang out if I was involved, blocking me on social media despite never having met me, sending my partner content implying he deserved better than me, acting as though I had stolen him from her by posting movie edits of My Best Friend's Wedding, which is a movie about a girl who has feelings for her guy best friend who is getting married to someone else. I trusted my partner when he reassured me that he could handle it and that her behavior wouldn't affect how he felt about me. Later, I found out that Ava has been mocking my appearance to him, comparing me to a horse, making jokes about my smile, saying it's too gummy, saying I'm chopped, and sending demeaning images. There was no genuine apology at the time. It was brushed off as a joke. This deeply hurt me, especially since I had never even met her. After this, my partner distanced himself from her for about a month after I expressed my discomfort. During that time, she posted passive-aggressive content online implying I took him away from her. Eventually, he confronted her again, and she sent a long apology. After receiving that apology, he immediately wanted to resume their friendship because he believed she would change and things would be different. This is where I struggled. I was still hurt and hadn't had time to process what happened. What bothered me most wasn't just the friendship. It was that throughout this entire situation, he repeatedly promised to slow down or pause contact, then broke those promises. He continued talking to her secretly and hid it from me, then lied when I asked. He prioritized maintaining that connection over giving me time and safety. I had to explain repeatedly why the behavior was harmful. Eventually, he apologized after months of arguing about it and going to a couples therapist, admitted he was selfish, said he wished he had respected the time I needed and focused on our relationship earlier. He asked for a compromise. He wants me to be okay with them slowly entering the friendship again with new boundaries and for them to be active friends in time. He said things would be very different with their friendship. He told me if I can't be okay with it, I should leave. I don't know what to do. I feel like if I leave, I'm doing something wrong and being unreasonable. Scaling Stories Corner. Hell no, girl. If someone told me to be okay with someone who has blatantly disrespected me like this purely for existing, or else I should leave, like be okay with it or leave, then nah, okay, bet, I'm leaving. Ava is a complete nutcase, and she's definitely in love with OP's boyfriend. And OP's boyfriend is giving me oblivious vibes, or maybe he enjoys the attention that Ava gives him. Because I don't understand how someone can say oh Mike, your girlfriend? Yeah, her? She looks like a horse. And all that other demeaning crap that Ava has ever said about OP. And somehow you're still not cutting Ava off? It's no. Literally, if anyone talked about my significant other like that, I tell them to screw off and get lost. Because absolutely no one should be talking to my significant other like that. It also doesn't matter if Ava sent a long apology to Mike, because he's never supposed to re-engage in the relationship unless OP is okay with it, because OP was the one being harassed by Ava. You can't just introduce random imaginary boundaries and tell the person who is being attacked to deal with it because everything is going to magically be better now. So no, Mike is garbage, Ava is garbage, so let garbage be garbage. Happiness is definitely not being found here. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, a good partner would never allow another person to speak ill of or bully their partner. A good friend would go out of their way to support their friend's relationship. Neither of these things is happening here. They clearly have some connection that neither can live without. You should be his priority. You're not. She is. It sounds like you've decided to leave. Good for you. You deserve better than this clown and his juggler. and they deserve to make each other miserable. Make the choice yourself. Don't leave it up to him. Tell him you need a real man who isn't addicted to a toxic friendship with an immature psycho like his friend. Good luck, OP. Let us know how it goes. OP says, thanks so much. I feel the same. If someone spoke about my partner like that, I'd never give them the opportunity to do it again. I wouldn't need my partner to ask me. But his connection to her means so much to him, to the point he can't fully comprehend the severity of her actions. He will often tell me I've interpreted certain things wrong, or it's not like she said this. What she said wasn't nice, and it was rude, but it's something you can come back from. He won't admit that the friendship was toxic at all, and I truly believe he will continue to be in denial about it. There's no way he will ever see it. Commenter 2 says, my relationship with my husband started like this. He had a female friend from high school who got territorial and jealous when our friendship turned into a relationship. She started badmouthing me and putting me down. You know what happened? He cut her off. When she confronted him on it and asked him why, he told her that he wouldn't tolerate her behavior towards someone he cared about and that they had obviously outgrown their friendship. At that point, we had only been together for a few months, and they had been friends for years. I hadn't insisted he do it, I just ignored her, yet he still did it. If he cared, he would too, but instead, he gives you an ultimatum. It's time to leave. OP says, good to know there are people out there who fully believe it's right to put their relationship first, and I will say he did do it in the beginning for a month when I asked. But after that, he couldn't stand not talking to her. He keeps saying it's about giving chances, and him being so forgiving is just his morals. But I explained to him time and time again that what she did wasn't just a simple mistake. He thinks it is, and that'll never change. Thanks for your comment. Commenter 3 says, so sorry you're going through this, OP. Have you thought that maybe they are sleeping together? I'm not trying to be hurtful, but I've been through it. Didn't find out until a long time later that the reason mine was allowing his friend to say anything she wanted about me was because they were way more than friends. For your sake, I hope that's not the case. You deserve so much better. You deserve someone who is going to take your side against the world. OP says, thanks so much. I've asked him that many times, and he always told me there was no attraction there on his end, but that she has expressed having an attraction to him in the past. I do definitely feel like, emotionally, she is who comes first, which makes no sense to me because it's essentially an online relationship. They never see each other in person because she lives too far. But based on his behaviors and what I know of him, based on who he is as a person who has a hard time letting go, I think with her, she guilt trips him and manipulates situations to the point he genuinely feels bad. Like, he told me he felt like a bad friend from distancing himself from her and, in fact, wrote an apology to her about it. Update 6 months, 1 week later. Hi everyone. I know it has been quite some time since I initially posted about this, but I have a huge update. I promise it's worth the read. By the way, you can find my previous post through my profile. I couldn't link it. Mike and I attempted to work through the situation in therapy. For the most part though, he made excuses for Ava's behavior and tried to justify how the situation could somehow be okay. We went back and forth about it until he ultimately broke up with me and ghosted me. A few short weeks later, he sent me a long paragraph saying that he wanted to get back together and start fresh, but that the condition would be that I have to accept his friendship with Ava. He argued that everything was in the past, that everyone had done their part to resolve the situation, and that it was time to move forward. He even told me that he didn't owe me full loyalty because we weren't married and weren't family. Something in my gut felt off, and some part of me just couldn't let it go. He wasn't even willing to agree to the light boundaries I wanted them to have. He said he wasn't going to do anything or change their friendship just to make me feel comfortable. He continued insisting that their friendship was completely platonic and that there was no attraction. After going back and forth about this, I asked him what would actually change in our relationship if we got back together. Once again, he broke up with me and ghosted me. He told me he couldn't put any more of himself into our relationship and that he wasn't going to put himself through this. Then I found out, through a mutual friend who came across his videos on his phone, that he had sex with Ava just a few days after we broke up. I don't know the full timeline, so it's very possible that something was also happening while we were still together. That's all I know for now, but honestly, I don't think I need to know anything more to understand what happened. So, I guess the moral of the story is, trust your instincts, protect your self-respect and self-love, and don't ignore the patterns someone is showing you. I, unfortunately, abandoned myself in that relationship. I let go of so many of my own needs and boundaries because I was trying to be what he needed in order to make the relationship work. I will never do that to myself again. If even one person can learn something from my experience, then sharing this was worth it. Never let someone make you doubt your own perceptions. Your feelings are information. They tell you what matters to you, what your boundaries are, and when something doesn't feel right. A mature partner will listen to those feelings, consider your needs, prioritize the relationship, and make you feel secure in where you stand, not constantly question it. I hope I can heal from all of this and eventually find something healthier and better. For now, I'm choosing to focus on myself, rebuild my self-love, and learn from everything that happened. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice and supported me when I originally posted. Let me know your thoughts too. Scaling Stories Corner. Well, I personally saw the writing on the wall that Mike saw Ava as something more than a platonic friend, and Ava was obviously seeing Mike as something more than platonic too. And it's an absolute joke that he can say it was platonic when they literally smashed days after the breakup. And Mike is freaky as hell because why were you taking a video of it? We're assuming that this is supposedly the first time, at least according to OP, is the first time she's heard of them hooking up. But the fact that Mike was comfortable enough to take a video is telling me that it isn't his first time hooking up with Ava. So I'm glad OP is finally choosing herself now, because it's better late than never. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, he may as well stay with her because no other woman is going to put up with their friendship. Commenter 2 says, they aren't even friends though. That's just a lie for them to pretend they aren't doing what they're actually doing, cheating and having a sexual relationship. The fact that he didn't just become official with Ava after the breakup and tried to get OP back tells me Ava is just a safe hookup partner for this guy. OP says, right? My friend told me he's not going to get into a relationship with her and they're just having casual sex right now and that he claims he has no feelings for her. Which, honestly, makes zero sense to me in this situation. He acted like he couldn't live without her our entire relationship. Commenter 3 says, claims it's platonic, then immediately jumps into totally not platonic territory. OP says, right? That's the part that got me. He completely gaslit me our entire relationship to make me believe I was crazy and blowing things out of proportion. He always went into detail to explain how he wasn't attracted to her, that I was imagining things. He always told me I was interpreting their friendship wrong and that I was the priority, even though his actions always showed that she was. He would even tell stories about me to his friends that I was this jealous, crazy girlfriend. Commenter 4 says, can someone ghost you when they break up with you? I thought no contact is expected when you are dumped. No? OP says, in this case, we were in the middle of arguing. He hung up. I texted him and called him, and he didn't respond to any of it until a month later. Commenter 5 says, see, I'm petty. I'd tell him I know about him and Ava hooking up and casually add that people in his own circle warned me not to get back together with him. Then let him sit there wondering which one of his friends told me what. If he wants to play games and make me question my own perception of what was happening, I'd be tempted to give him a little chaos of his own. OP says, ooh, I like the way you think, haha. Okay friends, so that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.